You are listening to the Intelligent Vocalist Podcast, episode 174.
Welcome to the Intelligent Vocalist with John Henny. This is the podcast dedicated to help you be a smarter, better, more informed singer. And now, your host for the Intelligent Vocalist, John Henny.
Hey there, this is John Henny. Welcome back to another episode of the Intelligent Vocalist. I do so appreciate you spending your precious listening time with me. All right, my YouTube experiment continues, and it is an interesting study in humanity in that going on and giving people information can send some people into a rage. I mean, comments where I'm just stunned how angry people seem to be. And they tend to focus on analysis I have done of singers who have passed away. And there's something about someone no longer being with us that almost deifies their life, especially if they were a beloved performer. Now, keep in mind, I'm only picking performances that I think are exemplary, and I'm not doing any negative critique of the performers at all. But there is a small percentage that is just indignant that I would look at these singers in any way, shape, or form, to the point where I think I'm only going to analyze healthy singers from now on. But I wanted to discuss this idea of critical listening versus listening for enjoyment, because it really is an important distinction. And this was brought up by a comment that I'm going to read to you. And this was from the Freddie Mercury video. So this is from my YouTube channel, and it begins, "Nah, dude, you have no right. Sorry, I didn't even watch the video. The title just annoys me." By the way, the title was "Voice Teacher Reacts to and Analyzes Freddie Mercury Live Vocals." But that annoyed him. The message, or the comment continues. "Who analyzes Freddie's voice with 3 question marks? You celebrate it. You enjoy it. Case closed. Nah, dude, you have no right." So this person, the idea that you would analyze someone's performance is absolutely off the table. It's a nah, dude moment. Case closed. But even Freddie Mercury himself spoke of listening to Joni Mitchell and analyzing her phrasing. Freddie didn't develop in a vacuum. He listened to other musicians, and he listened to them in a critical way and analyzed and adopted what they were doing into his own style. Now, I want to juxtapose this with a different quote I found. And the quote says, "It's a mistake to think that the practice of my art has become easy to me. I assure you, dear friend, no one has given so much care to the study of composition as I. There is scarcely a famous master in music whose works I have not frequently and diligently studied." Now, this quote comes from a composer that most people consider, well, I think everyone considers a genius, but most people think that this genius came effortlessly and that the person actually lived a life of debauchery, non-discipline, and the music just poured out of him like a switch. A movie was even made about this person, showing just that. And this person is Wolfgang Amadeus Mozart. And people, even though Mozart was a genius and music flowed through Mozart like no other, he worked at it. He studied. He broke things down. And this is what musicians do. Now, absolutely. Do we listen for enjoyment? Of course we do. But I've had people on my YouTube channel actually make comments about how they feel sorry for me that I seem incapable of enjoying music because I'm breaking it down. And I, like any other musician, we turn this on and off. I don't sit and analyze everything I listen to. I mean, that would just be a dreary experience. And I have music I specifically listen to so I can turn off my voice teacher brain. And admittedly, sometimes if I'm listening to an amazing vocal performance, the voice teacher brain wants to jump up and start to analyze things. But I've gotten pretty good at getting that to calm down. And I also have very specific go-to music, instrumental music. I love to listen to Bill Evans play piano. I will listen to orchestral music. I'll even listen to classic rock where it's not about vocal pyrotechnics. Pink Floyd in particular, where you can just get lost in the music and the voice is just part of the overall texture of the song. So I do listen for enjoyment. It is not something that is beyond me. And while you should listen for enjoyment, you really do need to develop your technical listening skills. And you want to be able to listen to music and break it down and analyze music. That's the only way we learn music. When I see comments like this, I know that these people are not musicians. And if they are musicians, they're probably rather poor musicians, because every musician I know breaks down music. They have favorite artists, and they will sit and they will transpose what's going on, and they will fixate on just one small portion of a song. They will figure out and break down songs by ear, which it's now so easy to look up chords online. I think that's an important thing, is to learn to do this by ear. And back in the pre-internet days, you were really forced to do that. Oh my gosh. And just when we, a record, and you were just playing the same part, lifting the needle and setting it back down. I mean, I ruined records that way, just doing deep listening, the needle going over one part of the record so many times. But developing these skills are critical. And in my new book, that I'm just finishing up, it's actually going to the editor next week. As I record this, it is the first week of May, and I am very excited to get this to the editor. So probably this time next month, first week of June or so, first or second week, I will be ready for test readers for my new book, and I only offer that to people on my email list. So if you're not on my email list, just go to johnhenny.com and you can see where you can sign up. And it's really valuable feedback. So I really enjoy getting feedback from my test readers. However, in my book, that is a book on singing for beginners, I have a chapter on listening and learning, how to develop these skills. And I just want to go ahead and discuss what I write about. I've actually got the manuscript up here in front of me. But one of the first variables I listen for is overall tone. What colors are happening in the voice? Are they dark? Are they warm? Are they bright? And then timing. This is something I talk about a lot in the podcast. But when you listen to great vocalists, their timing is so amazing. And they don't just stay in one place of the beat, if you will. They will push ahead on certain things and pull back. Now, that's not the same as phrasing, where you will really delay or really jump ahead. But this is just kind of the overall feel. And then that is followed by phrasing, where you delay a line and then rush to catch up. Intensity from light and breathy to near shouting, and all the different emotional colors in between, the melodic turns that they use to create variety. And then as they expand on that, doing riffs and runs and all the ornaments within the music, the shades of the vowel, how they're forming the vowel, and the different intensities and colors just within a vowel is so important, whether it's open shades and closed shades, consonants, which I've talked about before, and just the attack, and are they soft, or do they make them a little harsher, more percussive? What singers do with sustains, the vibrato. Is the vibrato fast? Is it slower? Do they play around with the rate of vibrato? The ending of notes. How long do they hold notes? The building of tension. As the singer builds the song and going from lighter to more intense, other vocal effects, letting the voice go a little nasal or growls or distortion. There's so much there in a great vocalist. It is so important to listen to great singers and so important to break them down. This idea that you can't do this idea that the case is closed, and that you should never do this is absolutely ridiculous. But that comment does have a point. You need to turn this off, and then you just need to be enveloped by the performance and the emotion, and let it take you somewhere. Let it capture you. Because if you spend all your time analyzing it, and there was a period where I kind of did that, and you might find yourself as a developing singer doing that, although we're always developing. But as you really start to get serious about the voice, and you just can't seem to turn it off. And I would suggest you set aside time where you specifically just allow yourself to listen, and listen as a beginner with a beginner's mind. No analyzing. Come to it fresh. And if it's a song you've heard many times before, listen to it as if it's the first time, and just allow yourself to be captured. That childlike wonder when you heard a favorite song and it was just the most miraculous thing in your world. I can remember, and I wrote about this in my first book, Teaching Contemporary Singing. My dad had the Beatles album Help on reel to reel, and I would beg him to play it, and I'd get so excited as I watched him thread this through a real old school reel to reel player. But, back in the day, that was hi-fi. And he'd hit play, and I just watched the tapes turn. And the song that just grabbed me so much was The Night Before, and just Paul McCartney's voice, the thickness of it. And listening back now, you can hear that it's double-tracked, but his voice just transfixed me in a way that never left, and that was really the beginning of my love for singing. And I think back to that moment, and I try and recapture that and allow myself to listen for the pure joy of it and for just the emotional connection that I get to music, because ultimately that's why we are doing this. And something I tell singers I work with is what we are studying here, all this technique, is not the highest level of singing. The highest level of singing is communication. And so always remember that. It's always about communication. But great singers communicate with such skill. And that technical skill is something that we need to acquire. And that's where you do break down the voice. And I divide my listening sessions into listening for enjoyment and critical listening. And I mean deep critical listening, to where I'll just go back over a single line and just hear how it starts and hear the shades of the vowel and hear if the line swells and what they do with the consonants. And it can become fascinating. There's an entire universe within a single line of a great singer. Now, do singers think that way in the moment? No, that's not how you communicate. But you spend time breaking it down and thinking technically and working through all of that and absorbing all your influences. And then it all gets jumbled up inside of you and comes out as something new and unique. Do I hear Joni Mitchell when Freddie Mercury sings? No. But do I believe that Freddie really sat and listened to her and broke down what she was doing? Absolutely. That's how great singers are made. Hey, if you want to know more about me, please visit my website, johnhenny.com, and be sure, again, to sign up for my email list. That's where I will be getting test readers for my book. And you can also get my free vocal warm-up course. I show you how to warm up through a straw, which is just absolutely fantastic. And you can also get my piano course for voice teachers for free right now. This course was previously $147, but during these times, I am giving it away for free. It's also very useful for singers. You can find it right there on the front page of johnhenny.com. And until next time, to better singing. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.